Hey everybody, here is a quick video about how to use Excel to make means and standard deviations when you have a probability distribution. Okay, so what I've got here on the side, over on the side here, are my results from rolling a die 50 times. So I got 9 ones, 9 twos, 6 threes, 11 fours, 5 fives, and 10 sixes. I can double check this to make sure that I have 50 of them. I'm going to label this, and remember the way that you add things up is to use the built-in formula sum. Every formula begins with an equal, so I'll type an equal. I'm going to type the word sum and open my parentheses, and then with my mouse or my trackpad, I'm just going to highlight all of those and close my parentheses. Okay. Sometimes we saw in one of the previous videos, sometimes if we use this, Excel might open a window, an editing window that's really big. And so if you can't see all of the data, you can certainly type in the cell numbers that you want. My data started with B2. I'm in column B and row 2, so there's the B2. The colon says use everything until you get to the next place. B7, column B, row 7. So I'm going to add all of those up. And sure enough, I had 50 rolls. Now, to find my mean and standard deviation, I need to turn this into a probability distribution. So I'm doing that over here. Here are the different outcomes from my roll of the die. I just typed in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the way I calculate the probability is how many times the number happens divided by the total number. That's what we did in week 2. So I'm going to do that. Equals, every formula begins with an equal. I had 9 ones, and I want to divide, there's my division sign, by the 50. And one more thing that we had talked about in the first video, because I always want all of my formulas all the way down to have a 50, I need to put a dollar sign in front of the B. Whoops. Let me do that again. I need a dollar sign in front of the B, and I need a dollar sign in front of the 9. And I need to get rid of that little I. I don't know how that happened, so I'm going to get rid of it. And you can see it turns red, and over here that's red, so I know I have the correct numbers in my formula. Now I'm going to hit enter and come back to the cell, and then go to the bottom corner to that little green dot until my cursor turns into this black crosshair. Click, hold down the mouse, and drag down, and those are my probabilities. Just like in the video lecture for chapter 5, in order to be a probability distribution, those need to add up to 1. So I'm going to check that and make sure that I did my work correctly. So again, equals to start a formula. I'm adding those numbers up. So the word sum and open parentheses, click and drag, close parentheses, and again, if you need to type this instead of using your mouse, the first cell is F2. See, I'm in row F, column F and row 2. Whoops. Come back to here. And then a colon telling Excel to use all the numbers in between. The last one is F7, column F, row 7. And sure enough, when I add those up, those are equal to 1. So now I can calculate my mean and standard deviation using Excel. I'm going to use the same format that he used in the video lecture. I'm going to make a column that has x times p of x in it. So to do that, again, every formula begins with an equal, so there's an equal. There's my x. The probability is the p of x, so I have x times p of x. Hit enter, come back, fill down. So what I have just calculated is the x times p of x part. Each x and p of x gave me an x times p of x. Now what I need to do is calculate the sum. That big sigma means sum. So over here, I'll just add those numbers up. Equals, because it's a formula, sum, and again, I can type or I can click and drag. This time I'll type. The first number is in cell G2, so I'll type G2, a colon. The last number I need is still in column G, but it's in row 7, so I type G7, close my parentheses, and that's the mean. Right there. In fact, I'm going to highlight it so that we know that we've got the mean right there. We can keep track of that. So there's my mean. I got 3.48 for my mean. Okay. Now I need to calculate the standard deviation, but before I do that, I need to calculate the variance. So I'm going to work with the variance this time. Let's use another color. You can see for the variance, I need to take first x minus mu, and I need to square it. I'm going to do that in 2 steps. So I'm going to take a row that has x minus mu first. Mu is my mean, so I'm just going to take x minus mean. Okay. The roll is my x. The probability is the p of x. X minus mean, the mean is down here. So I'm going to take equals. There's my x, it's the actual data value, minus the mean. And again, when I fill this down, I want it always to use the same cell for the mean. So I'm going to put a $sign in front of that, $sign in front of the G, and a $sign in front of the 9, so that that will not move when I fill down. And that should not be a negative number. Let me look at my formula again. Oh yes, it will be a negative number, because in this case, the 1, my x was a 1, but the mean was a 3.48. So definitely, that will be a negative number. Okay. And for the 2, it should also be a negative number. It is. For the 3, it will be, because 3 is less than the mean. And then for the 4, 5, 6, it'll have positive numbers. Yours will vary, but whenever your x value is less than the mean, then this x minus mean column will be negative. When your x is larger than the mean, whatever mean you calculated, then your x minus mean will be larger. So that's this blue column here. That's what I've calculated now. Let me color that blue so we can keep track. Well, it's not exactly the same. Here's a blue that's pretty close. All right. Now I'm going to square. Let's make that pink. Okay. So I need to take the x minus mu that I just calculated and square it. The way you square something in Excel is you use that little caret sign. It's above the 6 on your keyboard. So equals, there's the x minus mean, and I square it. So caret, and then 2 to the 2nd power, that's what squaring is. And again, I can fill that down. So I've taken care of that part. Now I need to multiply by the probability. So I'm going to label this x minus mean squared times p of x, just to help me keep track. And my column's a little bit too narrow, so just like in the video I gave you before about Excel, I can come right up here and drag this a little bit bigger. and drag that a little bit bigger so that we can see everything. So now I need to take the x minus mean, equals because I'm going to calculate. There's the x minus mean squared, times is the asterisk right over the 8. And here's the p of x. Don't use the x times p of x. We need just the p of x. So I'm going to come over to column F. I'm going to fill those down as well. So now I've taken care of that. I've got all of this taken care of in that column. And then finally, let's get a green. I need to add everything up. So I'm going to add those up. Type the equals and the word sum. Highlight or type in your cells. Close your parentheses. That is your variance. And then finally, the last step, I need to take the square root of the variance to find the standard deviation. We have a command for that in Excel also. Equals because we're going to calculate SQRT. SQRT. Open parentheses, click on the variance, close parentheses, and there is my standard deviation. Right there. So finally I have the standard deviation and I have the mean from my data. I hope this is helpful. I'll see you in class. Thanks. Bye-bye.